Hi everybody, welcome back to Front of House, where we discuss strategies and tactics for experience-driven hospitality brands to help them show up online just like they do in person. My name is Emma Phillips. I am with the Swell Studio, and I'm trying to get a little bit more comfortable with this whole podcasting thing. I am so used to short format filming and editing, and so doing long form content is something different, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm excited to keep figuring it out with you guys along with me. So today is kind of an interesting topic, and it's one that I am living in, honestly, currently. We are headed to San Miguel next week for Thanksgiving. We're doing a big family trip. I'm super excited about it. And it got me thinking about some things as we were planning out this trip and planning out our restaurants and planning out where we were going to go. And so I'm really excited to talk about this topic. But in the meantime, this week and even the beginning of next, I am in full 2026 planning mode, which is so much fun. It's crazy to think that we're already thinking about 2026, but in reality, Thanksgiving is next week. December is always just an absolute mess. So I'm not only trying to do this myself, but working with clients right now on figuring out 2026 strategy and really getting a plan together. So I had a session yesterday with one of my clients, and it was really exciting just thinking about tactics that we are going to introduce in the new year. And yeah, I just can't wait to test it out with them and keep being able to, I guess, bring it into my experience with other clients and with you guys. So that is what's going on this side of things. So while we have it, there's been some interesting points that have come up as we've been planning this trip. So we decided, I think in the summer, that we wanted to go to San Miguel. It's a whole crew of us. I think there's 10 total of us right now. My mom, AKA my travel agent, she found the Airbnb for us. It's this really badass house. But I was tasked with finding kind of our food, restaurants, bars that we wanted to hit, any kind of experiences, that type of thing, as the foodie of the family. So as I was going through this, I really started to think about it in the perspective of where my clients show up in this exact journey, right? And where other brands show up in this journey. So this is, it was really kind of an interesting exercise to be like, okay, what is my process to finding a restaurant, and what brings me to convert to actually booking that reservation, and figuring out how we then kind of make sure that we're reaching all those touch points as well. So I kind of want to walk you through, I guess, this whole journey that I did as I was researching and then eventually making the decision. So Mom found the Airbnb, so we already had that in place. And when I first went to look for restaurants, believe it or not, I actually went straight to TikTok. I am not even an avid TikTok user. Honestly, I'm not a doom scroller on TikTok. I am on Instagram. I do find that I end up using it for searching and researching, and especially when it comes to travel, my first stop on that list is typically TikTok. And it's because of these fantastic travel influencers, and even if they aren't influencers, just people out in the world that will go to places and film it and make a whole list of all the spots that they hit. And you get to watch in real time from their point of view what the restaurants actually look like inside, what that museum actually entailed, what this wine tour was like, and see it kind of being lived. All it takes is one person to go to a destination and make it go viral to where that then becomes the place that other people want to go to. If your place is a good spot to go, then people are going because there's something attractive about it that they want to then share with others about their experience. One thing that in my head immediately popped up, this is when you do tap into that influencer realm. I've worked really closely with Visit Corpus Christi and Visit Port Aransas in our area, and they will bring in influencers and they will reach out to their people that have kind of shown interest in wanting to host. and it doesn't have to be just you specifically bringing them down. There's really great local partnerships that you can get those resources, because at the end of the day, your tourism bureaus and your local visit destination, they have those resources to bring them down, and they'll work on that partnership. You just need to make sure that you tell them you're interested and this is kind of what you're looking for, and they will work with you on that. It is really interesting, and this is where it gets kind of granular, because at the end of the day, it really depends on who your target audience is. But if you are looking at attracting more of the Gen Zs, Google has been completely replaced by social media searches. I read somewhere 51% of Gen Z uses TikTok over Google, and that's just TikTok. The Instagram is a very much huge player in this as well. So I had this preliminary list, but I haven't made any decisions yet. I haven't really done any additional research. And my mom ends up forwarding me an email from the Airbnb hosts that have all of their local recommendations. And I kind of go in and cross-reference the two. But again, that got me thinking about this really intentional touch point that our Airbnb hosts are already sending us prior to our arrival. And this is another one of those no-brainers. If you're not already doing this, you're really missing out on building up and getting people excited for that experience. At my time at Cinnamon Shore, we spent a lot of time working on their welcome materials. And there was an email flow, of course, after they made their reservation. They got some kind of pre-arrival information, but also that in person, when they check in, they received some really great resources for their stay. I don't care if you are a one-bedroom little cabin in the middle of the wilderness, or you are a massive hotel in the middle of Miami. Whatever you can do to kind of provide a resource to your guests before they are coming. It's this idea that they are getting even more excited. You spent the time to send them this resource. They're already going to be going into their trip now fueled with your recommendations. That's only going to get them more excited, and they're coming in with this positive experience before they even walk through the door. It's just a really nice touch that I think shows that you care about their stay and you want them to have the most fun while they are staying under your roof, right? One thing to note with this too, especially for maybe some smaller brands or independently owned brands, but partnering with some of your local businesses that kind of offer adjunct services. Like if you are an Airbnb in Fredericksburg, you can partner with some of those local wineries that you love, and even if it's they get a discount when they go into the winery and vice versa if they book, or you could tap in, do some collaboration posts, kind of find ways to use other people's existing audience that works pretty well with what you're doing. And you'll find that your own network of people around you can end up really helping enhance what you're offering as well. All right, so now we're in step 3 of planning mode, right? And I think I've done enough of the honestly procrastinating that I'm like, all right, I've got to book these restaurants because we're coming up a little bit too close and we're a group of 10. And so I'm like, all right, I've got my lists, I've got some research. Now let's really dive in and figure out who and what we're going to end up booking. And this is where it got kind of interesting, because I noticed how much a website, but also a place's social media plays into this step. I'm a big advocate for a good website. I think you need to create, that is the jump. And so while maybe not everyone is using just Google to say local restaurants in San Miguel, if I have some kind of identified restaurants and places that I want to go, I am going to refer to their website because I want to see what their menu is. I want to see if I can just book a reservation online, and read into kind of what they're doing. If they have events popping up, different things like that, that's an important first step. But I found that beyond that first little step, I was then going to their Instagram. And this was kind of that missing piece in my head or not even the missing piece, but that kind of final tie-in where I will say that I think my decisions were mostly impacted by what I then saw on their Instagram account. And not because of the quality of their Instagram posts, but I was able to see actual video of the inside of the restaurant, not just these perfectly curated photos of pretty pieces within the restaurant, which is great. Not just looking at their menu, which also very important. I'm a foodie. I want to know what I'm going to eat. But ultimately, it's from the 5 rooftop bars that we're looking at, this one shows a really cool view of this specific landmark, and I really love the way that their bar looks, and it looks like there's a spot in that corner that would be great for all of us to sit. It's where I finally kind of was able to go, all right, how does this actually translate when we are there in person? Where do I see us fitting into this space? And just ultimately, that is what I ended up, like, that was my decision maker. I was able to see each piece of the puzzle and really was like, okay, that's going to be top of my list. At the end of the day, showing up in a premium way is so important. I mean, it is. Restaurants that I have no prior knowledge of, I now know which ones I want to go to. So I'd say the one lesson I think that we can all kind of take away from my own little internal case study that I've just done while planning this trip is the brands that win are the ones that are showing up at multiple touch points, right? It's showing up at that first search. It is guiding them along that journey. It's making every touch point intentional and feel like them. And ultimately, it's showing up in a way that is authentic to you and is really reflecting who you are and what you offer when you're inside. So I think with that, so we've got our lesson, but I guess let's talk action items. I feel like the most tactical way to now kind of go in and implement this is to actually map out your customer journey. This is one thing I do when I start with clients. First of all, map out your customer journey. Do an audit and make sure that you find your weaker points, you find the things that maybe you could be a little bit more intentional on, and then you make your 2026 strategy to start implementing that. If you're only relying on your website to kind of get that conversion, you're missing out on 90% of the decision-making process. So don't just show up, but show up intentionally and really think through the customer journey from any perspective. I appreciate you guys listening today. I am so excited for my trip. I can't wait I will be sharing as much as I can on socials. That is one thing that, like, when I travel, I become absolutely an influencer. So check out stories and posts throughout the week. I wish you all a really, really awesome Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great time. I will be back soon with a new episode. So again, feel free to reach out to me, Instagram, shoot us an email, submit a form, whatever it looks like. But if you've got any topics that you want us to discuss, please let me know. And if you are a hospitality brand that is looking to get jump started on your 2026 planning, we are doing sessions now. You can actually just book a one-off strategy planning session with me, and we can kind of map out what goals and what things you need to accomplish in 2026. In the meantime, I will be enjoying tacos and margaritas walking around the streets of San Miguel next week. See you guys soon. Thank you.